Welcome to this lesson on responsible sourcing. This lesson will help you learn strategies for including corporate social responsibility into your company's sourcing decisions. By the end of this lesson, you'll understand the benefits of including corporate social responsibility into your company's sourcing practices. Review good ways to integrate factory corporate social responsibility performance into sourcing decisions. Learn how to customize your approach for new and existing business relationships. Eileen is a global sourcing manager for Classic Fabric. Classic buys clothes from factories all over the world and sells them to major international apparel brands, including Fancy Pants, the premier luxury brand in the US. The sales team at Classic announced yesterday that they landed a major deal with Fancy Pants to deliver a rush order of 20,000 shirts for the upcoming fall season. Eileen feels confident she can procure the product. She has 3 possible manufacturers she can choose. She has an existing contract with Quick Picks, a large apparel manufacturer in Bangladesh. The other 2 potential factories are located in India. She's never used the other 2 factories before and isn't sure about their quality. Since Quick Picks did a good job with the last order, and Eileen needs a quick turnaround, she plans to award Quick Picks the additional business. She tells the sales team,
"No need to worry. I've got it handled."
Later that afternoon, Eileen gets a call from Justin. She doesn't know Justin, but he explains he was recently hired as the audit manager for Classic's new corporate social responsibility group that just formed a few months ago.
Hi, Eileen. I wanted to let you know that we just completed an audit of Quick Picks and found a number of health hazards. Also, workers are working nearly 80 hours a week, which is against our new corporate social responsibility code of conduct. If Quick Picks doesn't fix the problem, we may need to find another manufacturer.
What should Eileen and Justin do? Tell Quick Picks they need to comply within 90 days or they won't get the new business. Give Quick Picks the business and check to see if they've fixed the problem in the next audit. Hold a joint performance review meeting with Quick Picks to discuss concerns. Hello, welcome to the Code of Conduct eLearning lesson. This lesson is designed to help companies develop a supply chain corporate social responsibility code of conduct. By the end of this lesson, you'll learn the definition and importance of developing a code of conduct, know the key steps to developing a best-in-class code, understand the basic categories and topics of a comprehensive code. See-Through is a glassware supplier based in Japan. The company sells glasses to some of the biggest brands in the beverage industry worldwide. See-Through's CEO, Ben Yamamoto, prides himself in providing his customers with high-quality products that his procurement team source from factories all over the world. Over the last several meetings with his key clients, many have asked whether See-Through had a supply chain corporate social responsibility code of conduct, and how the company monitors the working conditions at its manufacturers. Corporate social responsibility, called CSR for short, means achieving commercial success in ways that respect people and the natural environment. CSR codes set factory standards in the areas of labor and human rights, health and safety, environmental impact, ethics, and management systems. Companies like See-Through often enter into business relationships with manufacturers without considering the factory's CSR performance. As a result, factory management pay less attention to their CSR practices, which can result in human rights violations, health and safety problems, and environmental risks. This was the first time Ben had heard about a CSR code, and frankly was embarrassed he didn't know whether his company had one or not. Upon return from his client visits, he finds out they do not. He's not pleased. He calls Dai Takahashi, See-Through's director of contract manufacturing, and tells him to draft one. Dai is not happy. He's got a ton of other work to do, and he doesn't really know anything about CSR or even where to start in creating a code. What should Dai do now? Adopt the code that looks the best from their biggest competitor. Let his boss know to find someone else to draft the code. Research best practices in CSR code development. Hello, welcome to the Supply Chain CSR Monitoring e-learning lesson. This lesson provides an overview of an effective supply chain corporate social responsibility program. By the end of this lesson, you'll know the purpose and definition of a supply chain social performance program, understand the basic steps to designing a monitoring strategy, learn key data collection techniques. See-Through is a glassware supplier based in Japan. Dai, See-Through's Director of Contract Manufacturing, has just finalized its Supply Chain Corporate Social Responsibility Code of Conduct. The code sets standards for factory working conditions in the areas of labor and human rights, health and safety, environment, and management systems. Now that See-Through has a code, it's Dai's job to develop a program that monitors and manages the CSR performance of its factories. Dai doesn't know where to start. What might be a best next step? Establish an internal working group to help him think through the program. Begin auditing every factory to make sure they're following the rules. Ask factories to send a report on their progress. Hello, welcome to Managing Factory Performance e-learning lesson. This lesson provides guidance on how to use key performance indicators to manage factory corporate social responsibility (CSR) performance. By the end of this lesson, you'll know the meaning and benefits of collecting key performance indicators, or KPIs, how to set appropriate KPIs that are good indicators of CSR performance, practical techniques for collecting KPI data. Susan is the Chief Executive Officer at Sky Electronics. Over the years, Susan has worked very hard to build a close relationship with Macrotech, the biggest personal computing company in the world. Today's a big day. Susan is meeting with Steve, Macrotech's Chief Procurement Officer, to discuss a major business deal between the two companies.
We are looking to develop long-term partnerships with our trusted suppliers. We know you do a good job in managing your manufacturers, and we usually don't have to deal with any problems. Before we move forward, we want to make sure you can also manage factory corporate social responsibility performance.
Key performance indicators, known as KPIs for short, are great tools for managing factory CSR performance. KPIs are measurements that indicate how a company is doing in reaching the goals they've set for themselves. Businesses use KPIs to measure strategic areas like financial strength, operational efficiency, and customer satisfaction. CSR metrics fit into all three of these areas because they show whether a business is well managed and its position within the industry. To be effective, KPIs must be key to reaching the company's goals and measurable over time. KPIs are different from collecting data through audits. Audits verify compliance to the law or a company's code of conduct at a single point in time. KPIs help factories to meet their CSR goals by tracking performance on an ongoing basis. There are 19 KPIs that present a good overview of factory CSR performance and fall into 7 categories, including effective workforce management, reasonable work time, adequate compensation, safe working conditions, fair working conditions, high productivity, and responsible environmental practices. Welcome to the Conflict Minerals e-learning lesson. By the end of this lesson, you'll know the definition of conflict minerals and issues surrounding them. Learn the key parts of the conflict mineral supply chain. Understand requirements for complying with the U.S. law on conflict minerals. Be familiar with some of the requirements your client may have in relation to sourcing DRC conflict-free products. Many products we use every day in our lives contain these 4 important minerals: tantalum, tin, tungsten, gold. These 4 minerals are in some retail products and almost every piece of technology: computers, cell phones, tablets, video games, and cameras. They help us to travel, light our way, and adorn ourselves to look beautiful. Global demand for these minerals has increased violence between warring groups vying for control of the profits. The leaders control many of the mines where conflict minerals are found. At these sites, they carry out horrible human rights atrocities. The armed groups illegally force local people to work in the mines for very little money. Miners, including children, work without breaks and in very dangerous conditions. The men use rape and violence to control the local population. Estimates suggest that over 5.4 million have died in the Congo from the violence, and over 2 million have had to leave their communities in search of safety. This death toll is the highest since World War II. Suffering linked to conflict minerals can be hard to look at, but it's important to know the truth, so we can make informed choices that help save lives. Given what you've learned so far, what should companies who make products that contain 3TG minerals do to make things better? Stop sourcing these minerals from the conflict regions. Keep sourcing from the region, but monitor the process. Stop sourcing from mines that are controlled by armed groups. Welcome to this lesson on meeting the requirements of CTPAT, the Customs and Trade Partnership Against Terrorism. By the time you finish this lesson, you'll be able to identify the CTPAT security requirements that you're responsible to meet. Oversee proper inspection and loading of containers. Ensure that security seals are correctly applied to containers. With the continued threat of global terrorism, it's become necessary to take security precautions in international trade. Shipping products from overseas creates an opportunity for outside parties to smuggle dangerous items like weapons in with legitimate cargo shipments. To prevent this, U.S. Customs and Border Protection has teamed up with the trade community, implementing security measures to reduce vulnerability in the supply chain. CTPAT, the Customs and Trade Partnership Against Terrorism, provides security guidelines for the entire supply chain, from manufacturing through transportation and importation to ultimate distribution. By participating in CTPAT, importers receive faster processing and clearance of cargo and reduced examinations, making the importation process simpler, faster, and more reliable. This lesson will prepare you to put measures in place to meet the security requirements and ensure the security of your facility. You'll learn about facility requirements, container inspection and loading procedures, and the correct method for sealing containers. As we go through, we'll follow an example case to give you a concrete view of what it looks like to implement these requirements.